priority pick, but we'll see what Nongshim has in store for us. As first ban going to be the Maokai taken away from Sylvie. And I think getting used to banning away trees are a lot of teams here in the LCK. T1, no different on that front as well. So here in Pick a Ban, let's see what that first one is for Nongshim. Start to get an idea as to why this red side was chosen, Wolf.
Yeah, we will get an idea shortly. I do wonder, I was talking to you guys about it during the break between series about Jiwoo playing the Smolder. He's hovered it a lot. He's teased that he might want to play it. Was played by BDD in the last series. I am wondering now with playoffs off the cards if they have a kind of a wacky draft that they've got prepared here against T1 that they want to pull out. But again, time will tell. Ashe is gone. Rumble and Aurora are the other two picks that we feel are pretty mandatory here on red side.
I would agree.
So should be one of the two, as they'll ban Faker's Azir instead, which is a strong ban against T1 exclusively.
And there's a little bit of a danger, right? Because we've seen Aurora in both mid and top lane. I do think that it's most likely going to be a Zeus champion. Partly because I have done a little bit of perusing of what they've been playing in solo queue. But also, I mean, it just kind of fits. It really does fit how Zeus likes to play the game. And so I think that you have to ban it, otherwise you'll probably lose the game.
But what if he gets Rumble? Don't you also lose the game? That's a little bit of a concern.
They may have only lose the game options. Maybe you ban Vi instead, and then just get one of them.
And this means that if you pick the Aurora first and you're planning on putting it topside, you're going to have to play it into the Rumble. So this means that maybe Faker will play it, or we'll see how the matchup goes. It's not an auto loss against Rumble necessarily because it's a ranged matchup. You can buy a lot of space and distance with the weirding. We will see how that plays out, but I expect that the Rumble will come through here unless they have something else in mind. I mean, they left this Aurora up for a reason, and we're going to find out what that is. Or we won't, and we'll be really disappointed. But I expect that we're about to find out. Rumble comes first.
It is technically not a good matchup into the Rumble, as you say, according to solo queue statistics that I have in front of me, Wolf. That's all I have really to go on. 47% win rate over 200 games, or something like that. As that is just Rumble Yone. Just smashed right down, straight in there for Nongshim. And we'll see what Faker is going to do with a face-up mid lane choice here for Fisher.
Yeah, I mean, they just went straight into solo lanes here. They're going to leave the AD carry picks and the bottom picks just in general for last, which is you expect on red side from a team like Nongshim Red Force. Senna, looking like it might just get locked in here early. It might go Senna Ornn. And say we've got a strong bottom lane, we have great scaling with this, and when you put up the Aurora ultimate, the Ornn value also goes up in that circle there to be able to set up the Ornn Horn. The Ornn Horn can then set up Zeus closing the gap and putting the ultimate down, so definitely some inherent synergy there, but it does mean that you're blinding a relatively counterable bottom lane. The cool thing about this, though, is on red side there's only one pick left. Could be also bottom here farming as well.
Oh, true. We have seen that in the past, and that is just going to be locked in, of course. Faker did play this in EWC to pretty great effect as well, and it could be
the brothers matchup.
The Wind Brother battle in the mid lane? Is it my solo queue experience manifesting in the LCK?
Oh, no.
Oh, it is. It's absolutely gorgeous as Lilia, the consideration here for Sylvie, taking a little bit of a leaf out of the Canyon book, or as I like to say, the Umpty book, because he was the Lilia guy before that. Instead, it's going to be a Sylvie special in the Viego. Of course, Owner no stranger to that one. We'll see what he's going to pick into it as we head into the second round of bans.
Yeah, so the fact that this Yasuo is a very strong flex here means that it's very tricky here in the second ban phase to try to figure out what T1 are going to do. I think banning Ornn is still a safe bet, because I wouldn't want to play into Ornn with this draft necessarily, especially with the Aurora there. So even if they were going to maybe put that Yasuo into the bottom lane, it could be a strong ban. The Diana works well with this comp, and the jungle is still open, and it's an Owner specialty, so I think that's wise.
I think Diana Poppy could be decent bans here. Owner's Poppy has been so incredibly good, and it has a knock-up and a knockback. It has multiple ways to make Yasuo a very happy boy. So there is the Alistair ban that is going to be aimed against Vital. An interesting one, trying to make sure that the young man is as uncomfortable as possible, and I think targeting him does make a little bit of sense here. It's a little bit mean, but I think it is still a good idea. Hasn't played it so far this season, though.
There's the Ornn.
Yeah, I might state that they have something in mind. The Ornn ban is really good to take that one away, of course. The Ornn center has been incredibly good.
Senna Nautilus still feels fine. Senna Yasuo, depending on what the matchup is going to be, feels great. But you're on blue side, so it's hard to get the jump on Nongshim with this one because they're going to have all the information. They take the Rakan away here, which is fantastic with the setup they already have with Yone and the Rumble. So I like that ban quite a bit. We're going to get an idea here. It's just looking like an Ezreal lock-in here, which means that you're not going to have that much pressure necessarily into the Senna lane, but it is going to be good scaling for later on as well as some objective poke.
Yeah, it's true. And I think they're almost guaranteed to get Leona if they want it.
Oh.
They don't need to lock away that if they want to lock that one down, just because Leona Senna isn't really a thing.
No, it's not. Also, Kai'Sa feels much worse into Aurora. Ezreal can at least kind of keep away or just shift out, whereas Kai'Sa doesn't really want to go in there at all.
And the Killer Instinct, I believe, is counted as a dash, and that is not necessarily what you want. That is a Hecarim, Wolf.
It's okay, we'll hover past it and play something else, right? Yeah. I was worried for like maybe half a second, but I was like, nah, that won't do it to us.
Wait.
It does start to look like maybe
Wait a second.
Bottom.
Hang on. Who is the king chef of T1? I believe that's Carrier. We might just have the Aurora Senna bottom lane.
Or it's Kennen support. We don't know anything, actually.
Yeah.
I think the Wukong is probably going to be the jungle pick because there's nothing else really that can jungle here, but that's all we really know.
I was kind of expecting the Senna jungle this game, actually. A little bit strange. Well, Rel is going to be considered, and I want to focus on Nongshim because that is a composition I understand. We've seen this one many, many times. The idea is hold them in a position, burn them a lot, and then use the ultimate from Mr. Yone to hold them in position even more.
It's Guma Yasuo, I think, with Faker playing the Aurora mid, and Zeus is going to go top lane into the Rumble here with this one. Just not happy to play the Aurora into Rumble, keeping this one a little bit close to the chest until the final moments here. And it's really cool to see T1, even on blue side, with the ability to flex all of these champions around. Swapping ends up being kind of counter pick here for them, and that they can still move things around, and the R5 Rel feels like less value than what T1 has been able to kind of rotate around. Kennen ultimate inside of an Aurora ultimate with a Wukong on top. It doesn't sound very playable as the enemy team if that happens to you. Especially if you're a Kai'Sa trying to go in there. I don't think you'll be going in there and then coming out alive in any scenario. T1, let's not sugarcoat this. They are by far the stronger team. They are the massive favorites. And I feel like even if it was a weaker team, I'd really like the concept of this draft. But T1 look like they've prepared this extremely well. And I trust that they'll get it done. The Kai'Sa pick is the big sticking one for me. If it was Ezreal, I'd like this draft way more. Maybe Ezreal and not the Rel, but some sort of other support like the Leona you were talking about. I would have liked this draft a lot more for Nongshim. It's the Kai'Sa that kind of does it in for me because you do not want to be going anywhere near where T1 are, but with this draft, you've opted into doing so.
And this is the kind of draft that you do really kind of want to outrange. And Aurora is going to say, no, you're not allowed to do that. I'm sorry. And also, Faker is just so good at these really tricky picks that play around vision and controlling what you know. See how it works. We hop into the Rift. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. I will catch you up. Faker is currently on a 6-game winning streak in solo queue. One of those games includes Aurora. And prior to his more recent loss, which was just a game of Arena, he actually won again on the Aurora as well. So he's on a bit of a tear as far as the solo queue performance is concerned.
That's good to know.
And we'll see whether he can leverage that. Same can be said for Zeus on the Aurora, so it was 100% a flex pick. Haven't checked Carrier, but I assume he's probably also playing it because he generally just plays mid in solo queue, if you have a look. I don't know whether that's still the case, but it certainly was a while back.
Yeah, the Faker playing this matchup, as we look like we might have a bit of a potential lane swap here.
Okay.
Yeah, looking like that's going to be the case, so trying to get some big advantages early. The matchup with the Aurora into the Yone is quite interesting because of her ability to trade with max health with her passive. She can actually, you know, kind of take a hit and then trade really well with it and then buy some space with weirding as well. We'll see how this matchup plays out.
The weirding jump back thing is actually pretty handy. Is Zeus actually able to get a minion here, and Lightning Rush taken first.
That means the lane swap's not going well.
Yep.
Top laners aren't allowed to farm. That is happening. He got 1 minion. GG.
Yep, no, it's a bit of a problem. Fisher also a little bit late to the lane, but he will be absolutely fine. Having a look at this, it is a lot of first picks. 3 and 3 on the cannon for Zeus, the God of Thunder himself.
Mihail's first pick of Rumble, but obviously has a lot of experience playing it in Challengers. Very common pick there, even when it wasn't as meta here in the LCK. And it's his first pick because it's just banned every game, so it's not on him, it's just on the meta.
It is. Faker's 77th champion. Here we go.
Getting close to 80. We're getting closer every year. You know, we step 1 or 2 closer.
Man, I can't wait for Faker to have played every single champion competitively.
We're getting close, you know? I mean, not that close. There's a lot of champions in the game.
We finally got our Garen, you know? We finally had all of the champions played in the LCK by someone at least. Last time we did see this was Doctorm, actually against.
Oh god, yeah, I kind of remember that game. We were not happy about the pick, and it didn't do well. And
was this like part of the experimentation that we saw happen with some of the options when it was like the Yuumi lanes being completely ridiculous?
Yeah.
And so it was Yasuo and maybe something like a Sejuani in the bottom lane that we saw be very popular. It was, who was it? It was, I believe, Ruler and Lehens. That were playing it quite a lot on Gen G, but my old man brain might be struggling to remember.
Yeah, we saw a lot of weird stuff like that. Taking a look at the game state, by the way, T1 obviously with no plate protection here are going to do a lot. Rumble is, you know, just Rumble, so it's hard for him to take plates quickly in general, but he is going to get one, and that will be the TP as the cannon comes back here top side. Zeus getting a decent amount of experience too, so there's no big gap here in XP. I feel like T1 really won out on this one. And it's tough to play Kai'Sa into Yasuo Senna, obviously, but, you know, this one doesn't really hit the mark too much for me because could have just not picked Kai'Sa. Yeah, that's kind of the end of the story for me on this one. I'm not super happy with how they rounded this draft out. Can work out if you're not fighting into the Aurora, if the team fight setup isn't there, great for skirmishing, and you can potentially blow up the cannon if you find him, if you get a lead, but that's a lot of ifs.
The thing is, it's going to be about where Jiwoo is positioned at the beginning of these fights, because if Faker ever finds the Kai'Sa before, you know, she is altered into a fight that's underway, then it might be just over before it begins, as Fisher is going to unbind his soul and try and pick up some minions, but it's looking a little bit difficult here. Carrier just laning alongside Faker in the mid lane.
Yeah, and Fisher doesn't even get to try to trade or anything like that. It's just not been a fair fight for him early. And obviously Electrocute, I know it's the new Wolf color point where I'm like, it's really buff right now, but it's really strong on Aurora specifically as well, so he's just stacking the damage early, and it is a really, really tough time. Top side here, Zeus falling a little bit behind, but it's a low eco top lane. Will be able to hold his own. Rumble does not have kill pressure to take Ignite or anything like that.
Ow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that Electrocute that you were talking about. Certainly working out here, as we are going to have a little bit of a pause. Not entirely sure what that one is about, as we probably didn't witness exactly what it was. We'll just have to see. There is a bit of a kerfuffle happening on the bottom side right now.
Looks like it is related to Nongshim, potentially. At least that's where the ref was. Camera shot here.
If the camera is telling us anything, it might be over on their side, unless it isn't, because there are no referees over on their side.
Yeah, they were there, and then they left, so we're not sure, but
it looked like it was almost a Sylvie situation.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about how much value T1 got by sending the Senna mid is that they end up chunking down the Yone, and that means the double Q from Faker's, the Q is somewhat semi-execute on the second activation of the Q.
Yeah.
So he's just trading better and better and better constantly, and he actually activates the Electrocute, and then he gets the second Q there, and now he's really starting to put Fisher in a kind of unplayable spot, may have to take it back soon. Very important trade that actually happened just moments before the pause. Probably not related to the pause, but we will see. I'm hoping this is just a small hardware issue or like a small frame drop, and we'll have this resolved. But we'll let you guys know as soon as we know anything.
Yep, we'll let you know. It looks like it is Mihail with some sort of issue, I believe. And we have confirmation it is a peripheral thing.
Yeah, you can see the USBs here, so...
And I didn't have to say anything because we can see right here that he's holding USB. Yeah, that's maybe a keyboard problem is what I'm saying, because it's looking a little bit unplugged.
Or maybe it's a mouse pad issue. He has to take everything out and unplug it before he... No, it's a keyboard issue. He just wants to wrap the keyboard up before he checks his mouse pad to make sure it's working.
Yep, there you go. We do now have an opportunity to tell you guys about how it all works. Of course, every player does have backup versions of their chosen peripherals that are here. All of them, you know, checked and certified by the LCK to make sure that there's nothing, no funny business involved. And so there is always a backup no matter what. Hopefully this one doesn't break because maybe we don't have a round 3, but maybe we even have one of those. You never know. Yeah. And I can see that it is a Logitech one, and I think the store out the front has got a few of those too.
Yeah, I think, you know, right now the big thing is just for him to verify that the new one, the spare, is actually functioning properly. So we'll have a few moments for him to independently verify that, and I don't know how he would do it. Maybe he's going to open Notepad and type a few sentences in. I don't know which key wasn't working. We don't have that information, but it should be a relatively open and shut case here with the new keyboard plugged in.
Wait. So Jiwoo has a Vital as is Pikachu? That is very, very cute. Was that Mihail representing
Mihail is a missile.
Ah, there we go. I thought he was just a disembodied head in the top left representing the moon or something like that. It was very, very odd. He's now just deciding which one he wants. Wait, are we plugging the old one back in again?
Well, it could be an issue with the USB port on the PC, and the new one didn't work either. I mean, I'm just trying to be a detective here. I really don't know, but...
Well, we only know that it's a peripheral issue, so I'm still not convinced it isn't the mouse.
Yeah, it's true. Like, technically speaking, that's...
It's all bait and switch.
It's also only a reported peripheral issue. It might not even be an issue at all.
Oh, that's true. It could all be happening in our minds.
The refs better check to see if he's lying.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe he's a hologram. I don't even know.
Maybe he's not even real. Maybe I'm not even real.
Yeah, what? Hang on, wait. No, I touched your shoulder. You're real, Wolf. I can confirm
But what if you're not real?
Oh, God, what if we're in the same dimension of not being real?
We live in a simulation.
Well, that's confirmed. Did you see the last series?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the last 3 years of KT?
Yeah, that's actually a very good point.
Okay, the light's turned on.
Oh? Okay, we'll see. We'll have to see if anyone's home. Currently, the commentators, that's still under question about their position. As you can see now, doing a little bit of typing, figuring out exactly what's going on, touching the right buttons.
Even if I'm not real and you're not real, at least in this reality that I'm seeing, because you might not even, you might be in a different reality, but in the reality that I can perceive, the keyboard lights are on. So you guys are all in my reality too.
That's in my reality also. Is this like a Schrodinger's cat situation? Like, you know, like we split universing and stuff like that? Like,
but if, okay, so if I see red, like on this really cool fan sign, you think that you and I both see the same red?
No, because our eyes are not the same eyes.
Yeah, so like what I see as red might actually appear blue for you, but that's what you always thought fire looked like, so it's normal.
Oh, yeah. What I think is red is actually blue.
Yeah, or at least from what would be blue for me.
Yeah, true.
All right, let's stop this now. We're back in the game.
I'm so incredibly confused. Is Zeus on the red side, actually? That's my question. But we can go back to just regular gameplay because we're back into it. Sylvie going to come in. Does spot out Zeus here. He is going to have that back stopped. Owner in position. Sylvie gets out of the mist and gets out of the area as well. Stopping that back, I think, kind of important, especially considering the fact that Zeus doesn't have teleport. So might have to go for a more inopportune back option. As Faker with his lost chapter now completed, he's just teleported back to lane, and it's actually Fisher that's able to come out ahead in one of these trades here. We do cut the video so we don't see that cannon minion dying to a melee, and that is definitely a good thing because that would have made us all a little bit sad.
I didn't check the number on the CS, and like...
Neither did I.
I want to say
not in my universe, Wolf.
Yeah, the swing of the sword of the melee minion might have been a little bit slower. Maybe he got it. Like, maybe he got it. I'm just going to have to keep that... you know,
in the back of your mind.
I'm just going to keep it open that maybe Zeus, in fact, did hit that cannon.
This is what Jonah Strong needs to do. He needs to just make sure that he keeps it a mystery every single time. And then we just won't know. We won't need to type -1 in the chat. Stop typing -1 in the chat, guys. We don't know. Okay?
Yeah, minus question mark?
Yeah,
plus
exactly. -1 question mark? Exactly. All right. Mihail with a fair bit of control here, as we can see. I actually think that Sylvie being up there to stop the back really, really worked out because that whole wave is now going to get eaten. I believe no cannon in it either. And so Mihail, with his teleport up and available, he gets a hold on to that. He is going to build Mercury's Tread, so there's somewhere a very sad Huni. And we're sad that Gumi's not here.
But you know, it's a good food purchase for the isolated matchup.
Yeah,
It'll obviously hurt him later on in terms of his damage output, but
Double AP as well in solo lane, so it's going to do double duty.
yeah, it's quite a value item, I think, in this scenario. I still would have preferred the Sword Boots just for what it means later on, but it is a safe purchase, let's say. So Zeus will come back to lane here. Mihail doesn't end up with a massive CS lead or anything like that, but did take a lot of farm away from Zeus.
What?
No, he might have hit them, actually. I was tying my shoe.
I wasn't.
Oh.
So sadly...
You're not supposed to tell me!
No, I just told you that I wasn't tying my shoe.
Oh.
I didn't tell you anything.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. He might have got them, yeah.
But I would question the changes to Rumble that recently happened that did have stated that Flamespitter was still, you know, easier to last hit with. Mihail begs to differ.
Yeah, well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's okay. These are the small things that we don't sweat. We don't sweat the small things like keyboard issues or our reality being a...
Yeah.
we just go on and we continue to commentate the game. As Keria and Guma are really putting the pressure on here. You can see why Jiwoo tried to lane swap, and the turret is kind of gone.
Yeah, it is really...
Mostly gone.
It's really taken a beating here on the bottom side. It's actually one of the more aggressive center lanes that we've seen. Oftentimes, it's weathering the storm that the center likes to do. I guess maybe not when it's Keria piloting the champion. Of course, she is going to be changed. A lot more of an enchanter type champion.
Yeah, not
building a whole bunch of different stuff that she doesn't build now. So I think maybe we'll have to get used to this if Senna remains in the meta.
Yeah, it's certainly a pretty high chance that it will be a very different look as Mihail pushes another wave in, wants to get that plate. Owner is up here. Don't think he's necessarily going to get said plate, but we're going to cut the video.
Yeah.
And bottom lane is kind of in shambles. Mid lane, pretty in shambles. I feel like Fischer recovered pretty well after Keria's roam. So used to Guma playing the Senna.
Yeah, I'm actually really happy about this though because, and I'm sorry about this, Twitch chat, but we don't get the Senna CS Keck W's anymore.
No, I know, it's
because
just,
she's a support.
Yeah.
And it's fine.
It is weird, but even though it seems like it's supposed to be normal, it's not normal for my brain.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff like that. I feel like today has been a little bit of a topsy-turvy one. As Keria is going to face check here. He had the sweeper, so he had the information, but not a whole lot of options. Uses the heal, uses the piercing darkness, and he gets himself out of there. Gumayushi, on the other hand, having to deal with a lot of different people. The ulti comes through, and that is going to be the execution, and that is first blood, followed swiftly from the escape by Keria.
He was kind of solo queue Yasuoing right there. He was like, wait, I killed 3 people. Keria was like, hey, I'm dead. He's like kind of danger pinging him.
I think it was a little bit the identification that he was definitely dead.
Yeah.
There were a lot of bad guys down there.
There were a lot of bad guys. I mean, this is the moment really I'm talking about where he goes forward here, gets stunned up. Now he's exhausted. And yeah, he's definitely dead. But I perhaps if he goes back, maybe he could have avoided Sylvie, but they're both down completely on summoners now. So 4 summoners down for 2. In the bottom lane, exhaust and ignite for all 4. So the tempo will swing back a little bit down there on the bottom lane. It was looking like a complete disaster, but kind of saved. Fischer picks up a kill.
Yep. Owner is now going to be able to take some grubs. Vital gets the information that the grubs are being taken and isn't going to be able to stop that from occurring. Unless Mihail comes down, level 8, equalizer in hand. And that could be enough to maybe get one of them, but it looks like Sylvie's just not interested. And Faker, because of that roam that Fischer had, and as you can see in the gold, right, T1, they do lose first blood, but doesn't seem to be too much of an issue here. Still almost 1,000 gold in the lead just by how these lanes have been going. And Gumayushi, even though Yasuo somewhat outranged, I guess, by a lot of champions that are just ranged in general, doesn't really matter. The amount of pressure that this bottom lane can put on is still extraordinarily high.
Yeah, and when you have a Senna to help sustain it as well, and the wind wall can block some of that damage, plus it's almost similar to like a Draven lane where you're like, well, if I can auto you, even with my low range, I will win the trades, and he does, and he is. as Zeus with a fancy footwork here.
Yeah, able to sidestep. Sylvie's coming up, though. It's going to be a 2v2 as the equalizer sort of goes begging. An early ulti from Sylvie, but Zeus is going down low, and Mihail able to grab that kill. It's 2-0, but Sylvie will then swiftly be executed. Faker puts him in a circle. Fisher has made his way up as Faker's looking for some cues. And I don't think Ona's getting out of this one. Faker now might be in trouble, but does have a turret there and does have to flash after bouncing back with the weirding.
Well, Fisher is everywhere. Atlas,
Yeah.
I mean, he had a really rough start to the laning phase, but he's making plays on the map. Gets that play bottom side, now going top side to bail Mihail and Sylvie out. Sylvie didn't flash, actually, after Keria on the bottom side play, so still has it, because if he doesn't have his flash here, I feel like this ends up being very disastrous for Nongshim, but he actually has it here. Zeus using his ultimate before Owner shows up, and this was supposed to be kind of a trap, a bit of a bait, but Sylvie uses Heartbreaker and then is able to flash here to secure the kill, gets the transformation. This buys enough time for Fisher's rotation up. And the ultimate here from Faker is used so early that it's just not going to offer any utility here. Unfortunately, Owner will also be taken out. So Fisher with 2 kills on this Yone very early on in the game.
Yeah, really nicely done. Gets the flash out of Faker here as well. So the mid lane could be a little bit more dangerous for the GOAT.
Yeah, he has his Malignance opted into that one and has an Ether Wisp in his inventory, so
Cosmic Drive.
yeah, not going to be opting in for the Leandries, just wants that additional damage. Cosmic Drive buffed on this patch as well.
Yep, it's been a bit of a favorite for Auroras, just in general. Difficult name to say quickly, Wolf. I'm not going to lie to you.
Aurora, yeah.
It might have something to, does it have something to do with my accent? Is it difficult for everyone?
No, I think it's just hard.
Okay, good. It's not just a my universe thing, it's an everyone thing.
Yeah,
Aurora, like
Auroras. I'm trying.
Yeah. No, it's a roughie. We'll get better at it. We'll get better at it, I promise. As Fisher taking a bit of damage here as Faker just slips into stealth mode and will just get himself out. Certainly works in this matchup as Zeus finds himself a Q and the harpoons just go wide. Man, Zeus' footwork today,
Yeah,
pretty impressive.
He's really actually moving quite well, avoiding those harpoons and
Kevin Bacon,
yeah.
really clean.
You know,
Okay.
on the topic of Aurora, I mean, who named the Aurora Borealis? That has got to be one of the worst names. It's really hard to say that.
It is definitely difficult to say. It was not me, because I haven't seen one. So you can't blame me for that one.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't even know if they're real. I mean, it might just be like something I saw on
I
Google.
imagine the person who named it is someone from a far northern place.
Yeah. I mean, if you search unicorns on the internet, you can find a lot of information about them.
Yeah.
Same thing for Aurora Borealis. So in my mind, they're both, if I haven't seen it, it might just be fake. I don't know.
Wait. I think Yundo is letting us know. I think it was Galileo.
Really?
Yeah, that guy was pretty
Okay,
cool.
respect, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't think we're allowed to judge Galileo. I don't think that's allowed.
the gravity of his naming, is quite high.
Yeah, I would say so. Even if he wasn't the guy that came up with the whole theory of gravity.
He figured out. Do you think if Galileo was alive
He
now,
probably also figured it out.
do you think he would be able to identify Nongshim and Direct spell in the standings at the exact same speed? All right, here we go.
He probably would. He's got
Herald
the calculation for it. Do we have the calculations for whether or not Nongshim should go for this fight, though? That's the real question. As, all right, I think Fisher's saying yes. That's a Magnus Storm that tries to get in there. But Gumayushi's also going to be able to execute the Kai'Sa. Down goes the Rift Herald, but can they keep themselves alive in the fight? That's the question. As Faker and Fisher fighting this one out. Ona does get stunned up. That's going to stop the rest of the battle, but T1 finding a pretty good angle in that one.
Yeah, pretty nice angle there. Fisher getting, or rather, Jiwoo getting taken out, and very close fight. I feel like Nongshim, if they get a better angle there, maybe this is a winnable fight. Zeus doesn't TP in and did have his ultimate available, but was under pressure here of the Rumble. Mihail also doesn't join for the fight. I think we could have actually seen a very different fight had Zeus wanted to go in, but decides to let T1 clean up without him. All of the time we see the Kennen obviously in the top side controlling some of these Herald fights, especially in the old days when we had double Herald before Grubs, but this fight, you can see Keria's positioning is fantastic. The Rel ultimate is nice, but Faker just completely circumvents it. Everyone's in the Aurora ultimate. Everyone's getting Malignance burn. And there's just no real angle here for Fisher. Faker plays this incredibly well. Keria's positioning is so good that he's just not caught and will offer back so much utility here. Again, on a nice edge, I feel like the beginning of that fight, but Faker just warped it.
He did. And it is the Rift Herald going on over to Nongshim. So that is the trade for the life of Jiwoo. But the problem is this is likely to be how a lot of these fights are going to look. So Fisher having a big early lead. I think extremely important, because he's just going to have to realize that his Kai'Sa's not going to be able to do too much this game.
Yeah, that was kind of, you know, we did identify early that that was going to be a potential issue, and he is significantly far behind in gold, as seen in that graph. No longer a meme with Senna, you know, actually being the support in this case.
It's fantastic. This is actually, like, really liberating. Just in general for us commentators that do have to sometimes witness Twitch chat and stuff like that, because it's just Senna being a support and being played by a support. It's beautiful.
Yeah, with a support item, because it's being played by a support and not because that's just how fasting Senna worked. And it's still the same item. You know, we're not going that far, but.
And in fact, speaking of Twitch chat, they brought up a really good point. Aurora Borealis is also known as the Northern Lights.
True.
So instead of having to try and trip over the name Aurora, maybe we can just call her Northern.
Sure. She's often the north side of the map right now in this meta.
Yeah. I reckon we can probably go for that one. I think we'll have the Queen of the North. That's like a Yundo suggestion, I believe.
I like that.
Love that. That's a good one. Okay.
We do have a bit of a contest over the Dragon here. Again, both top laners have teleport, but it's hard for Mihail to go because he will just get stunned by the cannon if he decides to opt in. So just kind of a, okay, they're backing away. Maybe he will TP in. Nongshim really want this Dragon. It's Ocean and Chemtech, so the soul's going to be valuable. Here comes Jiwoo on the side.
Double teleports in as well as Jiwoo really, Faker just looking for him. You can tell what they're looking for, but there is the Dragon taken down by Ona. Circle goes down, Fisher's health bar is melted, but it's T1 that are lying on the ground. Faker taken down, and Nongshim, they wipe them all.
Oh man, this is a disaster for T1. It looked so good. The Aurora ult goes down. And they also have a pretty nice setup for the ultimate for Guma. There's too much damage in this comp here for Nongshim. Vitals re-engage as well, very clean. And that's not only going to be the Dragon goes over, it's not the team fight win only, it's going to be the turret taken as well, and inner turret. Yeah, I'm like really struggling to get these words out here because I'm so shocked by Nongshim potentially giving us our second upset of the day here. Remember, this match matters for T1. When you talked about their easy strength of schedule, well, it only matters if you win those. And Fisher here has to rebind, right? Look at the angle here for Faker.
Oh,
Equalizer.
vital.
The equalizer as well is just so massive. And Faker is just out of the fight.
Yeah, can't do anything. Sylvie just going to put him down. And then it's his turn to just become an Aurora if he would like to.
I mean, I guess, you know, if we talk about the Malignants, we've kind of joked a few times about it, making the circle into just a big equalizer, but it doesn't actually do equalizer damage. The equalizer, it does equalizer damage.
Yeah.
It's hitting everybody in the team fight, and then Guma's holding himself up on top of it, yet it can sometimes be a little bit of a problem.
Well, Zeus also in perhaps a little bit of trouble here as the flash does have to come out to avoid the stun from Sylvie. Good flash. Yeah, certainly a good flash, but now Kennen without flash, way less dangerous.
True, and a lot more vulnerable if there is going to be any sort of follow-up. And he just didn't have a turret there. Really good play from Sylvie on the map. I mean, if you look at Sylvie's KP this game, 7 out of 8. I mean, it's just been kind of a team effort all around, but he's been super active on the map. Non-stop here, bottom lane, top lane, now on this bottom side play into Zeus, getting the flash.
Yeah, I want to say Mihail as well, I think was the player struggling almost the most in the LCK over the last little while. Every time you see his player cam, he's just not looking very happy, hasn't been able to find a lot of the plays that he's been looking for. But this Rumble, 1-0-6 now, and that last equalizer, phenomenal. I think so much of it is credit to Vital for getting that Magnet Storm and then allowing Mihail to just really capitalize. But he was there with the 1-2 punch.
Yeah. There's been so many T1 series against Nongshim, by the way, where T1 happy games. It's usually game 2. I wouldn't classify this necessarily as a happy game because it's a really cool draft, and I think it definitely absolutely has the right moving parts to work out. They got the Aurora as well, but Nongshim are just kind of outplaying them here early. I mean, so many times T1 versus Nongshim goes to 3, even when Nongshim are the massive underdogs. I mean, they always have been, let's be frank, but Nongshim are really giving T1 a run for their money here, now getting control over the Baron Vision. We're 21 minutes in, a bit early to start this one up with a Kai'Sa.
Yeah. But
still, I mean, T1, they're on the back foot here, and there are some scaling elements to this in terms of like Senna, you know, but It's a Yasuo, it's an Aurora who's great in team fights, but doesn't necessarily scale as a damage pick. It really just needs to be T1 getting a better and clearer setup for fights. And you know what? They are just going to start the Baron, because look at how much control they have. Look at T1. They can't see anything.
What are they going to be able to do? They're going to walk in over a billion different versions of vision, and they witness the fact that the Baron's going down, but it's just going to... Oh, Ona almost gets in there. The equalizer is going to stop him from getting out, though, and the fate is going to be sealed. Gumayushi tried to dive in, but he's just going to get out via the Death Chamber. Faker now bouncing around the circle, and Fisher will fall down. Faker's still at full health, but can he actually do it? He bounces over the wall, and he'll just base gate his way to safety? I don't think so. That's going to be Sylvie finding him, and he's not able to get out enough funny business to survive. That's another ace.
That's the game, I think. That's Nongshim picking up the Baron, getting a full ace, and T1 just trickling in because they wanted to stop the Baron. They didn't have vision. They had to try to do something, but it was super desperate. It's almost a steal. As you mentioned, his owner goes for this, uses the clone and then closes the gap, but it's actually the Kai'Sa that secures it. And then look at this ult here on the re-engage from Fisher. That's two down. And then you don't have a team fight here. Unfortunately, Keria is just so squishy, and Faker's ult is high value, but he doesn't have any teammates, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, everyone's just kind of dead already. This was a cute play. It was cold.
The comp is really cool. The comp is really great for T1 if all the moving parts are working together, but it's like a bicycle without tires in this team fight, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes you can just kind of outthink yourself. Not to mention the fact that, you know, there is no real front line, so if you don't have an advantage, then you're going to have a bad time. And if you're into this composition from Nongshim and Fall Behind, that, like, it's sort of like two very similar styles of draft going together, because a Rumble is just going to capitalize and you will just melt. And that's what we're seeing right now, as Fisher able to utilize that Unbound Soul really well to stay frustrating here on the bottom side, utilizing this Baron buff, trying to get even more pressure. And it is all of a sudden a 7,000 gold lead and counting. It is a 4,000 gold Red Bull Baron power play. Equalizer goes down onto the turret just to buy them some space.
They do need to play really respectfully, though, of the combos Guma gets set up here. Also, Faker's ultimate is still incredibly potent, and it's on a super low cooldown.
Oh, in goes Fisher, looks for an angle, doesn't quite get it.
They're kind of tunneling on this turret. They're a little bit overextended.
Yeah, Vital is going to get picked off. Faker just puts him in the circle and executes him.
Yeah, a bit of a awkward moment here for Nongshim. The equalizer, very low value, and once that's down, T1 feel very confident to actually look for a pick there, as they're a little bit split, and then they're all grouped in one lane, so there's no secondary lane pushing. You did see Mihail after the equalizer go mid, but he doesn't get any pressure done there, so they will still walk away with this Dragon. It's Hextech Soul, which is massive, obviously, especially with the lead they have and the Kai'Sa that's in this composition. Setting up those slows is going to be pretty nice. But yeah, this is just a little bit too aggressive here, and then Vital gets caught by the root, and Nongshim are just like, sorry, I can't save you. And you can see Rumble is awkwardly with no ult in mid, not really accomplishing too much. So T1 have done a great job of stemming the bleeding here, still significantly behind 7,000 gold. But the combos in this comp can win you the game, even without the gold advantage. Like, it's still winnable here for T1, but the lack of map control there made me feel like 100%. This is probably donezo, but Nongshim didn't utilize their Baron very well, and so here we are.
Yeah.
T1's back in a chance to get back into this game.
Yeah, of course. And it's never over until it's over. It's absolutely true, as another circle comes in, and Jiwoo is going to do the walk strategy. That's going to get him out of that.
Faker knows the cooldown. He's like, it doesn't matter. I can just do it again in a second. Don't worry.
Just needs to hit a few people with stuff, and he'll be fine. As you can see, already a quarter of the way ticked through. So he'll have another circle that he can put down relatively soon. All right, Sylvie. Let's get onto a clone. His owner is dashing away. Zeus looking for a little bit of an angle, but this might be the inner turret falling now for Nongshim. It's been their prize for quite some time that they've been looking for, and there it goes. Nongshim secure it. And now with all of this control of the bottom side, it is 3.5 minutes until the next Dragon, but that is Soul Point and Hextech Soul available. I mean, if there's a win condition when it comes from the Dragon Pit, it is certainly Hextech Soul or the Elder that are really up there.
Yeah, they're the big ones. I mean, Infernal's pretty good, and there's some big wins that could be had. Hextech Gate's going to allow you to traverse the map very quickly, which is good for T1's composition when they have this pretty significant lack of map control. At least it can allow them to maybe look for some flank angles. Zeus is, I feel like, the big reason why T1 still have a chance in this game. Not because he's winning or he's crushing or anything. He's significantly behind, but because he's Kennen, they can set up these fights so well with a teleport flank. So, you know, Nongshim need to be really careful about clearing wards, like we saw KT do in the previous series. And Mihail.
There's an equalizer. Ona does go into his Warrior Trickster, but I don't even know whether it's going to be enough. He's healed, but the Magnus Storm from Vital, and they just get into the backline and execute him. Gumayushi is real tired, and he will be taken down. The flash out from Jiwoo gets him to safety, and 2 on the floor here for T1.
Yeah, and Fischer's still pushing top side here. A lot of pressure on these inhibitor turrets now. T1 losing a lot of farm, and Fischer fishing, but isn't going to find anything.
Not quite yet. There is the flash forward from Faker, and he's just going to kill Jiwoo. Bye-bye, Jiwoo.
That was a clean play from Faker.
Yep, you're not allowed to be an AD carry when Aurora is on the rift.
Yeah, that was a, you know, again, not a, they used his flash for it, but it's not really a high-risk play from Faker. There's no inherent risk to his safety, and his ultimate's on such a low cooldown. If he feels like he has the angle to flash for that, I think you'll 100% go for it. Punishes Jiwoo there. It's a small trickle in the deficit here in terms of where we are in terms of the game state, but we'll see, watch this again. Mihail just hiding in this brush. Owner face checks it. The equalizer's placed well. And even though he uses his Warrior's Trickster and he has Carius heals to come through, the Magnet Storm here from Vital is enough. Jiwoo follows up quite nicely. And with Exhaust here into this Yasuo, there is just nothing Guma can do. And then Faker.
Yeah, this was Jiwoo kind of overstepping his bounds here just a little bit. And he just pops on it.
So flashes forward so he can get the
get in the right
return.
position,
yeah, so
and then uses the wall to appear on the other side. Really cleanly done.
And what is that called? Is that what a Mobius is? I don't know what the term for it is when you go from one side to the other, like in Pac-Man, but there's a term for it. Someone tweeted at me or something, but he uses that really well.
Is it a Mobius? I thought that was the bad guys from Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Yeah, that's also what it is. True.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that it can be multiple things. All right, Nongshim starting off yet another Baron, and Mihail with these harpoons able to keep Carrier at bay. This is just on. There is nothing they can do about it. The equalizer comes in just to make sure, and there's the dash forward from Fischer. He just executes Carrier in the backline. Zeus is also going to try and do something, but he melts. And that is all of the kills, all of the time for Nongshim. More of them raining through as Gumayushi trying to dash around, but his brother will take him out of the fight. And now T1 once again, a clean ace. And Nongshim are just playing better.
Yep, they certainly are. The draft was pretty eclectic from T1. I definitely think it could have worked out, but it just got completely owned by this Rumble pick. They took the Aurora, and it'll be the first loss of Aurora here in the LCK. Nongshim with a huge upset win. If you're a T1 fan, this is not what you wanted to see on Faker's return here in Week 8. As Nongshim take them out in the first game. Easy strength of schedule, but Nongshim say, who said easy?
Easy for who?
Yeah. Yeah, man, what a game from the Noodle Boys.
Yeah, the Noodle Boys really coming up clutch. I think they, like, we can say all we want about T1's weird draft that they went for. I agree with you. I think that it could have certainly worked, but the way Nongshim played out theirs and the fact that they lock in this Rumble Yone, like, bam, bam, as soon as they had an opportunity to pick champions. This is a team that knew exactly what they wanted to play, and they played it out beautifully.
It's wild because it's both solo laners who locked in early, who both had the highest impact. I feel like Sylvie had a fantastic game, though, as well on this Diego.
Oh, and Vital's Rel, man. I mean, I know I'm biased because, you know, he's our boy.
Yeah.
But Vital really, like, coming into the role, and at first we were like, don't know whether it's working yet, but he found so many angles on this Rel this time around.
I mean, you know, maybe once every blue moon you see a Nongshim win, right? It feels like, so we get excited when this team is playing well, especially when all the moving parts are working. But an upset win over a team like T1, an elite team, that's like a solar eclipse level of rare. And we saw it in this first game. T1 with a risky draft. Again, I think the draft was pretty good, but it just did not work out.
Yeah, it was cool, but it didn't work. Maybe we're out of the kitchen for the next one. We're going to just play some standard League of Legends. But it is now time for us to head to a short break. When we get back, Space is going to break it down. We'll have game number 2. See you there.
아 이거 진짜
잘했다,
미알 오늘 폼 미쳤다.
인정할게. 잘했다. 나이스.
미알 오늘 폼 뭐지?
아, 근데 우라 왜 이렇게 세는 거야, 진짜?
얘들아 가볼까 오늘?
가보자.
역할을 써볼까?
나 몸 될게. 운동이 잘 걸었네. 정태가 한번 어그로 잘 빼줬어.
아야 다 잘했다 오늘.
좋았다.
막판도 잘해보자 이거 단판 막판으로.
Play
I think
this time.
Aurora is still totally fine to just lock it in and keep it as a flex pick. That's totally fine. It was really the Senna lane that where things started to get a little bit wonky. Didn't have a great front line. The Wukong pick, again, the draft could have worked if it all worked together every time, but they just kind of got outplayed in Nongshim. They are the masters of chaos. So this type of draft, they definitely felt very comfortable. As we'll see, 2 jungle bans here. Again, T1 taking away the Maokai and the Sejuani, as we'll once again see the Ashe and the Azir for Nongshim.
Ooh, Rumble. Going to be respected this time around. It was Renekton banned away in game number 1.
See if they ban Aurora here in this spot, since the Rumble is already banned. You don't have to trade it.
Could be the opportunity. They might not be as worried because they just managed to beat it, right? And so it could be still Vi taken away.
I wouldn't even hate a Kennen ban here. Actually could be okay if you feel like you can play into the Vi. The Vi is also fine. See what they want to do. Be the Aurora.
Okay.
So Vi first pick is an option, especially with Faker's champion pool. I feel like his strong suit has definitely been playing a lot of AP mid laners, not as strong on the Tristana or Corki this season, although he's had fantastic games of both. This hasn't been really his go-to. The Kennen I was talking about instead, though, will be the first pick, it looks like, for Zeus.
Yeah, still wanting to opt into that one. We've seen a few Kennens lose in the last few games, and sort of against what the teams that we feel are more powerful in the series as well, right? Like Zeus and Keen, both of them with many, many accolades throughout this season and this year. As, oh yeah, Zed is obviously the answer. Ninja versus Ninja is how it's supposed to go. But instead, it is Mihail going back to an old favorite here, or at least considering it. We'll see whether the Cassante is going to be locked in. Does make a little bit of sense. You can sort of weather the storm and then be more useful later.
See if they want to grab a jungle pick here, or if they want to, they could even get something like a Leona. It would be pretty unusual to draft it this highly, but it opens up a lot of different bottom lanes for them. This is not an easy spot with the top laners already locked away. Pretty unusual. So look for the Lilia pick here, potentially.
Okay.
As he did hover it last time, then swap.
Sort of considering it. Yeah.
Now, I do want to mention, Atlas, that Fisher has played a ton of Corki. He's really enjoyed playing the Corki. Faker has had some rough Corki games, to be totally honest with everyone. We'll see if Faker wants to lock it in here, or if Fisher's just going to be happy to say, we got an AP jungler, we're going double 80 carry, and it's a comfort pick for me. There's that Vi.
Yeah, I think Vi is certainly a fantastic option, especially if we're heading into more of these dive-based games.
Maybe just Vi Ari?
Yep.
Or Vi Talia. I mean, those are the AP picks I was talking about. Faker's look much better on than the AD picks, as Azir has been taken away both games.
We saw in our series yesterday, actually, the Vi be an absolutely pivotal pick. And that's going to come in once again. That Corki you were talking about, a little bit worried about, is going to be picked up once more. Fisher, I would really not mind if we just saw the Yone again, to be honest.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering, is he going to play Yone again, or is he going to play Lucian? But he's looking for potentially the Tristana here. And I feel like I wouldn't normally trust... Okay, I'm glad to see the Yone. I wouldn't normally trust Fisher's Tristana, but I was going to say maybe it's a lack of confidence in Faker's ability to lane here, but the Yone makes a lot more sense for me, and you've got a lot of combo potential. You've got a great front line now with this Yone and the Yasuo and the Sleep as well. As the Caitlyn ban, I feel like, is definitely leaning towards maybe a Zeri pick here, potentially.
Yeah, wanting to eliminate some of that range. And as well, when T1 want to play these incredibly powerful lanes, it's often with something like a Caitlyn Lux or incredibly dominant bottom lane pickups.
Maybe a Kalista ban to follow here, or they ban the Senna.
Yeah, I like that.
Kalista. Now, if there's, there's an angle to play Smolder, I don't think this is it. Those are good bans if you're going to play Smolder, but I don't think you want to play it into Vi and Kennen. I mean, yes, it did win against Kennen, but that was a mid lane pick, and it was a very different team that is playing it. There are a lot of different setups, a lot of different scenarios of the Maokai, for example. Okay, the Senna ban, I think, is warranted. I'd rather see a Zeri here than the Smolder. We might see a Smolder hover because Jiwoo loves to do that.
Please, we want to see the hover. The
No.
hover would be, and Neela hover would be great. Wouldn't mind
Neela
a
and
Samira
Smolder.
hover. Yeah, a few of those different weird options.
Do
before you
not
lock in
play-
something normal.
Do not play Misfortune, is what I would suggest.
Well, it's 80 carry Rakan. As the camera guy is going to let me know that, in fact, this is probably a pick for Vital.
It's a Xayah game, isn't it?
I hope
It's a
so.
Xayah game, Atlas.
It might be sort of Xayah denial. Oh my, they pick away the Xayah to deny the Xayah Rakan. And I think that the Noodle Boys mind games
That was
are
a
gorgeous.
sick mind game.
Holy.
Oh my god. Look at
And
you.
then the
got him.
Smolder. Oh, wait.
Well, with Xayah here, I feel like it's actually kind of viable, but I think the Ezreal is just the better pick overall.
Yeah, I think Ezreal's fine. Of course, you do outrange the Xayah pretty comfortably.
You're so safe into Ken and Vi. I think the Ezreal is just better. I think the Smolder is just way too immobile. Yes, you could still lock down the Ezreal with the ultimate from the Vi, but it puts the Vi in an awkward spot. And Smolder can kind of fly or flap or whatever, but
Yep.
not quite the same thing as the Ezreal, I think, is going to offer you a lot of objective poke. And I mean that like in that it's factual that he can poke, but also around objectives he can chip away at the health bars here of T1 because they don't have a traditional front line. You have the cannon, you have the Vi that can engage really well, and you have an Alistar, which is going to be relatively tanky. But if T1 fall behind and Nongshim have control over objectives or they're contesting for control, the Ezreal poke will be quite significant. I do think that in terms of, yes, I don't really like the Xayah that much, but otherwise this T1 composition is a real comp, a meta comp, a strong comp that has a cannon that is going to set up a more traditional double 80 carry scenario here that T1 have put together. And I think that their chances of victory, because they are, again, still the stronger team, I think this probably goes to 3, Atlas. That's my read on this draft right now.
That guy was just letting us know that it's going to be a Nongshim winning interview after that one. But we'll have to see. They need to win one more. They've got 2 chances to do it. Even if they lose here, they got 1 in the bank, and it's a best of 3. So the Noodle Boys with a little bit of an advantage here. I think T1, like you say, it's a lot more of a standard draft. Owner on the Vi. We've seen how well he's been playing so far this round robin, this season. But Nongshim still have a lot of great tools. They've got Mihail on his Cassante as a true tank. We'll have to see how it goes as we hop onto the rift. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, ready to get it all underway. Game number 2, can the Noodle Boys do it again? Both teams getting their requested sides 2 games in a row. And Mihail just taking a few shurikens. Zayas is putting the pressure on. It looks like it's not going to be any lane swaps unless Vital moving up towards the top side. It may just be the Nongshim are getting that rotation over.
Yeah, it could be. It's going to be a tough lane for Cassante to play out here in the top side. Bottom obviously can be quite difficult as well. Obviously at level 1, you're going to have the Alistar's number, but can get a little bit trickier with Xayah into this relatively squishy lane. So they will have the element of surprise here as T1 have some deep vision, but they're not going to walk through it to the lane. They're actually going through this Tri-Brush. Great path here from Vital and Jiwoo. Zayas is definitely aware of the possibility. I mean, those wards tell you everything you need to know. T1 are very concerned about the fact that he might just be not allowed to play the game because he's like, I first pick Kennen, and they're definitely going to try to stop me. Yep, they're trying to stop you. And I don't think he will have to flash here or anything like that because he's got his hand on the trigger. He's going to walk away immediately.
Yep, he wanted to be able to come up and at least grab some experience, but not going to be able to do so as Jiwoo just greets him with a Mystic Shot. Sylvie starting off on his blue buff, going to be smiting that one away as Mihail walks up and tries to get some experience. I think gets a tiny little bit. Oh no, not able to.
No, he didn't get it.
It's a bit sad. He sacrifices a fair bit. The wave does get pulled, and so might have actually been in range for a few of those. As Zayas, you can see, did manage to latch onto at least a couple of minions.
Yeah, look at him just leeching Faker's XP. Faker's such a bro to let him just chill here.
Yeah.
If you see this in solo queue, like, you know, Faker just flashes into the turret and dies immediately, but this is a pro game, so...
Yeah, we don't see
the
the raucous amount of ping saying, get out of my lane. You know, it's your problem, deal with it. As almost level 2 for Mihail, actually.
Yeah, he's
kind of a big one.
He's definitely, you know, weathering this laning phase pretty well early. It's an Alistar lane, and there is no jungler nearby, so he's going to be able to catch some of this XP, you have to imagine. He has Exhaust as well, which is great into cannon, but also potentially going to be a good dive deterrent. Although with Zeus coming over now, with him showing in mid and then disappearing, he's like, I'm not messing around with that. I'm not playing that game. And will not, in fact, hit level 2.
Yep. Vision going down here as Keria setting up just to make sure that there's no sort of counter gank opportunity as this wave is wiped out.
Vital is coming down as well at level 2, as we might see Solo Plate Gold go over to Jiwoo in the top lane. So yeah, Nongshim want to actually make this play happen, because right now they're kind of just sitting back and watching with binoculars in hand.
I kind of like it. Leave just one person up there. It means that there is less of the armor on the turret, meaning that there can at least be one of those plates taken by Jiwoo, as we can see. Owner moving over, though, so 4-2 as Mihail trying to get towards the turret and might actually ding level 2. As no, not quite, but still he's going to survive. There's that level 2 that we were talking about. The 4 men still here from T1 as they do manage to get the engage. That is first blood going over to Gumayushi. And Ona tanks that one up beautifully. Juggled here as now Faker in perhaps a little bit of trouble, but doesn't even have to flash to get him out of the way of that one. And the teleport comes in from Mihail, and he says, witness me, as he looks for more of these minions. Zeus was tanking up this turret, and once again he's just going to get toyed with. And that is another kill going over to T1.
All right, Sylvie's coming down here to see if maybe he can get some cleanup done on the Lilia. Bowling ball going to go wide.
Yep, has his eyes on the stake there, but Keria just going to flash out of the way. The watch out, oh my god, how many kills can he actually pick up here as Keria is dead as well? That is 2 for 1, and you'll probably take that as grand entrance going to be necessary here from Vital, but he used it, I believe, to close the gap. Doesn't land the Gleaming Quill, and Gumayushi just stands strong, walks out, no flash. Oh, there's the flash in! Jiwoo's here! And the flash was just used. Great sidestep from Gumayushi, but Jiwoo, he's going to have that Arcane Shift relatively soon, but Keria, he gets back here. There are no minions near this turret, so Jiwoo going to have to make his way out of there, and he will be able to do so. Level 4 for the Ezreal. He's pretty scary, and we've stacked up another wave.
Yeah, here we go. I mean, Keria is level 3. I don't think they can actually kill him here, and the turret's going to keep him safe from that W.
Yeah.
And that's the end of that. Okay. Maybe we should change it so if you lane swap, maybe the top lane, like if a marksman hits a top turret in the first 4 minutes of the game, they explode.
Maybe
because I don't want any more of these games in my game. This is just silly. Okay, Vital comes down, uses his heal, which is part of why Mihail actually lives and dings level 2. Unfortunately, he doesn't have flash. There's not much he could do here. The aggro juggle by T1 is basically perfect. You can see how low these health bars go. They know just how much they could do. This call to TP back in looks like a mistake initially because he dies, but everyone gets so low that with the rotating Lilia, and then Jiwoo eventually, a million years later, showing up, he buys a ton of time here, and this does make things very risky, as here it comes Sylvie. Let's see what he has to say.
Oh, good flash over the Vault Breaker there as well.
Got him.
Ah!
Yeah, I think he thought it was a quadra kill.
Yeah, and he was super close. And then Jiwoo's like, I got you. Get Zeus, but Guma with the sidestep. I mean, that's a quick hands, quick reaction there from Guma's. Done.
There's another double knock-up, and the Blade Caller is gorgeous. Vital looking to try and get himself out of this one as the Ignite was ticking, but not enough to take him down. It's now Jiwoo trying to deal with this one. Has great moves with the Arcane Shift to get out of the way, but I think he's still in trouble. Gumayushi, he takes another turret shot, and it's Jiwoo that grabs the kill. Jiwoo's still alive, and he gets the shield from the barrier. Oh my god!
I mean, T1, you're diving in Ezreal with barrier. If this goes badly, you've got to fit Ezreal on your hands, and you've tossed all the advantages you got. I mean, not completely all of them, but a lot of them just into the bin as Keria looking for the execute. Will get it here as it looks like the Vital Q does not connect, but man, this is a big turnaround. This is a professional game of League of Legends. I just want to remind everyone, T1 is 8-6. Nongshim have not won in a while. They have not won against T1 in a very long while, but they brought us to 3 quite a few times. As
look at Jiwoo,
Jiwoo's E is basically perfect. Now he has the barrier here, so can eat this extra damage from Keria, who can't stick around for turret aggro. Vital looking for the knock-up onto Owner, and look at this shield to come through, and he doesn't steal the kill. Jiwoo and Vital. Match made in heaven, I don't know.
As Owner doesn't either, as he's taking so much damage here. Yeah, he is just walking the wrong direction. Carrier and Faker, nothing they can do about this. And can they keep themselves alive? That's the real question.
I have seen exhibition matches more serious than this first game.
This is definitely getting off the rails really quickly. I think we need to talk to Mihail's first keyboard about this one.
Guma gonna deny some minions, and then he should be able to secure first turret here very easily, very comfortably. He is still 800 gold ahead, despite Jiwoo's very wild ride we were all on that second dive. I don't know what to say, Atlas. Obviously, T1 has an advantage in this game, but I need everyone to just play League of Legends in their lanes for a second. And I need to not be in replay purgatory for us to figure out where we are. Faker's ahead, has a cull. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The top laners are very low eco in this game. And something happened over here as well.
Aha, so it was a battle for the Rift Scuttler, and Owner didn't like it, but there were more friends for Sylvie.
Yeah, very... I don't want to say egregious, but greedy from Owner there.
Yeah, and Drake going to be picked up here by Nongshim. It's going to be good news for them. They're still 1,000 gold behind, as you illustrated before. T1 still, based on the fact that Nongshim were the ones that went for the lane swap, got dove, kind of got decimated in the early game. They are still going to be behind.
It's all the plates he picked up and the full turret and its first turret blood. So yeah, they both have 3 kills, but yeah, he killed the bricks. He was doing a lot of turret destruction.
Yeah, it is a big Gumyushi situation here as Vital, once again, he is everywhere.
It's very tough to catch a Kennen with a Rakan, though.
Yeah, and he is going to be able to make sure that Gumyushi doesn't come up here, so that's certainly good news too, as now 80 carries parked in the mid lane, and we've got the mid laners put down towards the bottom side of the map. As Owner going to spot out the fact that Sylvie's in the area. Lilting Lullaby does come down, and Owner takes a nap. It's suboptimal timing for said nap, but Owner's still going to survive.
Oh, target selection fantastic there from Fisher, though. Looked like maybe he was going to go for the play on the Faker is over here.
Yeah, we've got an all-out from Mihail, who's just looking for Zeus. The exhaust goes down. He'll find some more Qs, and the flash out from Zeus is going to avoid it. Vital now looking for the angle. He gets over Zeus. He knows that he has to go all in onto this one. Some Alcove Gaming, a Q going to connect, and Mihail, he will fall down, but the immediate answer is there from the Rakan.
Yeah, the heal comes through. It's enough to get his health bar back, but I think Vital really wanted to give Mihail the kill there and missed an auto. Ends up causing Mihail to go down. It's very close. We'll have to look at it a little bit closer in the replay there. And Mihail in the player cam really frustrated with how that one went down. You can see he slapped his forehead there. A lot of emotions in this one. I mean, Nongshim are not going to playoffs, but at the very least, maybe taking T1 down on the way out would be such a great way to end their season, or at least to sort of start bookending it here. But it's looking very T1 favored in the second game, despite the scrappy nature of this game and how fast and loose both of these teams have played. T1 are trading up because they got plates in the bottom lane. Zeus 1v2 gets a kill, and now they're looking for more onto this Cassante, who's got nothing in the inventory.
Yeah, it's feeling a little bit mean, as Mihail is going to have his turret demolished, but he will survive. Vital still in the area.
Has ult now, but again, it's a Kennen, so I don't know how much he can really accomplish here.
Yeah. Understandable that he is behind the amount of CS that he is behind, but I'm a little bit worried about that reaction that you were talking about in the player cam. We know that Mihail can get emotional, as great bowling ball. Going to stop Faker's back.
I mean, right now, if you look at Mihail's item inventory, he has Merc Treads nerfed, Null Magic Mantle, and a Rejuve Bead. So he's kind of... He like has half a bag of marbles. And Kennen has a real item build and a few kills and 2 plates. So he is going to need assistance up there. And Sylvie made a big impact in this game in the bottom lane, obviously, but Pre-6 wasn't able to really patch any of the holes otherwise. This is just really... I mean, Zeus plays this so well. Aftershock's down. Zeus just continues to chase here. And as you can see, the Vital rotation is so late, he can't actually impact this play. The Ignite, or rather the exhaust timing is great, but watch this flash from Zeus. It's like pixel perfect.
Yeah, that flash.
And he has all these minions, and Vital comes over, and then watch the heal. I want to see the auto here, because it looks like Vital holds an auto right here, because he wants Mihail to get the kill.
Oh, the W.
Yeah.
Ah!
Oh, man. Oh, you can see that he's not actually too frustrated. I think he knows, you know, that it was still a very, very close affair. Not as, like, it looked worrying in the small amount of pixels that we had at the bottom of the screen. That was a little bit more like, damn, he got me.
Yeah.
And not like a, oh, no, my whole career is over.
Yeah, the audio definitely kind of saved it, I feel like.
Yeah, I would agree. So that's certainly good news. As Fisher up towards the top side now. He's been a bit quiet this game, as this is not. As Carrier going to get re-engaged on. Jiwoo over to the side, looking for some Mystic Shot angles, but Vital's the one that's in trouble. Okay, True Shot Barrage connects onto Carrier, but he has an Unbreakable Will. They both turn immediately. These health bars are so low. It's a 2-for-1 though, and Jiwoo is just massive.
Yeah, he has 5 kills now on this Ezreal. He had the Triforce in the fight, and now Guma's like, guys, I'm trying to lane against this guy. We're trying to farm it out. Please don't get him too big. It was a really close fight, though, as everyone's health bars get insanely low. It feels like Nongshim are like, I'll skill check you, T1. You want to come down to our territory? You want to play the scrappy game? That's where we live. That's where we're from. And it does feel like T1 is still slightly trading up in some of these exchanges, but this Ezreal is becoming a very big problem very quickly, because what he can do with 5 kills, even if he's still down on gold after all those plates that are there, versus a Xayah that can't reach or hit him is pretty significant, you know?
Not to mention the fact that the item spike is going to be so much more powerful, right? So even if they're on gold parity, coming up on this next item for Jiwoo, it's going to be even more. But we're going to have a look at this replay once again.
The sleep here actually, with the charm coming through as well, there's just so much CC. His owner's like, I'm trying to win this on Vi. I should win these. There's just so much CC, and he finally does get the re-engage here. Sylvie doing all that extra damage with the Q as Jiwoo gets the kill. Super important. Sylvie just taking one for his Ezreal there, as he's kind of been Jiwoo's best friend in this game, I guess, in a lot of ways.
Oh, Sylvie sort of dancing around. This passive stacked up, so he's so incredibly fast. Watch out, even Smite going to be able to lock down this dragon. It's a Mountain Soul this game as well. Yeah, that is kind of huge, because T1 don't really have like a true tank this game outside of Carrier, and Cassante could potentially be unkillable if they can stack this one up.
To say that Xayah is a true AD carry, I feel like it's only half true in terms of actually being able to get through those health bars.
If she can auto-attack the tank, she does do legitimate damage to the tank.
Exactly. It's just a little bit challenging at times with a draft like this. We'll see, though, because it's only a 2 Drake lead. Obviously, T1 can start to stack up those resistances for their Alistar as well. Ends up being a boon for their front line if they can start to win those dragon fights. They get the Herald in return. Sylvie is looking for a potential setup here.
Yeah, another angle. Could just be this turret that they're looking for. Zeus wanting to try and protect it, but there is another minion wave conga lining in. And so I think Zeus might have to vacate. Okay, Sylvie just going to flash forward. Their teleport is coming on through, though, but the Q comes back. Fisher locks him down. And just an overstay here for Zeus. Not even able to flash his way out. Okay, I think Vital might be dead. Never mind, he just quicknesses his way out. He's totally chilling. It's like, I don't know. Vital, what did he have for breakfast today?
I don't know, but what did Fisher have for breakfast today? He's all over the map in both games. He's just constantly setting up plays for his team or reacting to pressure they have on the map. Going to see a TP here top side as well, so Faker's not going to be able to put any pressure on the last remaining health bars of that turret. But, you know, when you see Bro upset KT and when you see Nongshim in games like this play well, honestly, I feel like better coordinated than they've played all season, you can really feel that once the playoffs pressure is off, and there's a feeling of like, we can't go wrong, it's T1, we're the underdogs. This team just takes risks, and they skill check, and they play like it's challengers again, and it's looking good, it's looking clean. I'm not saying this play is what's going to give Nongshim the 2-0, but they're making these proactive plays as Rakan over here.
나 살만할 듯?
Yeah, let's
나 살만해. 나 이거 이쪽 살짝만 봐줄래?
You guys cover me?
나 살만해. 나 안 죽어.
Save me.
나 살았어.
I'm alive. I'm out. I lived. I'm out of here.
And he certainly was. Nice play from Vital there. I'm really glad that we got his perspective on that one because, yeah, Rakan, very slippery. As Zeus, he has flash, by the way. Fisher, in fact, Vital as well, just going to miss everything. And so, even though Zeus doesn't have his ultimate, it doesn't actually matter. As Mihail going to lose his turret. See whether he loses more than that as Faker comes down. A lot of consistent damage here, shredding down the Cassante. But he makes it to his turret.
What a game.
This is a game.
This is a official record game. It is real, and I'm still trying to come to terms with it. you know, after we identified that you and I might not be real in game 1, I'm starting to feel more and more like that we are not.
Yeah, this might be a universe that needs trimming. I don't know whether you watched the Loki TV show, but that's what they say in that one.
Do they say it in a low-key way?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's something like that. That must be why it's called that, because otherwise I wouldn't know why.
It's it definitely is one of those games where I feel like I'm having the most vivid dream of my life, but it's not a lucid dream because I can't control anything, and I don't know what's
yesterday,
happening.
Wolf. He played yesterday.
I know.
Okay, Jiwoo going to take a bit of damage here from Gumayushi, but the minion wave is going to wear off, and Vital now looking for an angle. I still like. You can see the T1 are about 2,000 gold ahead, maybe a little bit shy of that. But I still feel, with the fact that Jiwoo is so massive, and you can see there, like, this is still feeling like a game that Nongshim are just going to win.
If we talked about it already, but if Azaya's too long range to auto anybody, doesn't IE even exist? Like, does it even matter? Or is a 2-item spike Ezreal that can constantly hit Qs more valuable?
Yeah, I mean,
feels more valuable to me.
As Zeus is going to press the ultimate button. Fisher soaks the entire thing and then moves away. And Zeus is just kind of not allowed to play the game here. That's what they're trying to do. He is still 30 CS up on Mihail.
He's really their front line. Like, his ultimate sets up stuns so that the Xayah can actually get into position to do the damage. The Corki can do the damage. He's also getting close to hitting his 2-item spike with the Ezreal, but you know, it needs a little bit more gold, as Faker's been kind of in a side lane this whole time, hasn't really picked up any kills, hasn't been involved in most of these skirmishes, but he is definitely setting up for that spike later on. But if they can constantly make sure that Kennen doesn't have ult, it feels way easier to skirmish with this Nongshim composition, especially with Ione, who needs to get into melee range of him to actually team fight.
Thing that I'm impressed with is the fact that Nongshim have equalized all of the levels, right? Like, you've got Mihail, he's 1 level behind, but everybody else hitting those second levels on the ultis. And for this next fight, this one's going to be so important. Around this Mountain Drake coming up in 5 seconds' time.
Zeus doesn't have his ultimate because he got ult ganked basically for the 7th time this game, but he does have teleport, so he can be there, and if they can delay, the ultimate is getting closer to coming online, about 20 seconds or so away.
Yeah, Rift Herald going to come on down here. Zeus is going to teleport on top of it. Looks like they want to take the mid lane outer turret with them, and I think T1 should be able to lock this one down. Banana Brush warded up as well as Vital comes in. And that ward, oh, not going to get swept just yet. Oh, Muramana just transformed as now Mihail. He's not a target that you're really allowed to engage on. Still pretty tanky here, even though he's being put behind.
They can't see, if they can't see Zeus, they cannot fight safely. They know where he is now, but it's still such a huge threat. Flash ult back online.
Yeah, Gumayushi pretty safe positioning right now. Headbutt Pulverize on to Vital, but now he gets out of there. Great knock-up. Sleep comes in. They execute the cannon. The knock-up from Vital is just gorgeous. And Mihail's massive in the fight. Sylvie goes golden to keep himself alive. And Carrier, he is just a cow. What is he supposed to do? Jiwoo's going to flash on top of Gumayushi. And Nongshim, I know they ate noodles for breakfast, right? It's Nongshim, but damn, I wasn't expecting this game.
No, I was not either, but they just put Zeus in the ground. They won't let this rat ult, and he just instantly sets up the sleep. Super decisive call from Sylvie. The follow-up ult from Fisher is there. And Zeus is just 6 feet under before the fight can really get off for T1. They had Prio, they had the Herald going through, they had Banana Bush control, they took out the turret, but Nongshim were just more clutch. They kite back, they set up the perfect engage. Look at this. Zeus right now trying to set up for the angle. He has flash, he has ult. Guma's not here. Everything goes in to Vital, and then the sleep comes down. Fisher instantly ults on top of the Zeus ultimate that doesn't ever come out. He's just chain CC just like in game 1. Sylvie, the really nice arm guard here as well. He's able to kite his way out. Great team fight here by the side of Nongshim, and Guma, he just can't reach, can't do anything. He's just got to get out of there. Yeah, I think we're going to win this. I think we're going to win this, he says. And they did.
Yeah, Shelly and the gang looking pretty happy about how this one is going. And Nongshim, I don't know what it is. Like, it happened to Bro. We saw it. They managed to take down KT as soon as they were eliminated from playoffs contention. And I think a lot of people are going to be saying that T1 aren't looking as good as they looked earlier in the season. But I think that this is also, a lot of this is about Nongshim just looking unshackled here on the Rift. Their team fighting, beautiful. This is what they were known for. This is why this team was so good at just winning Challenger over and over again. It meant they fell behind in lanes all the time, but their coordination in these team fights, their decision-making was just so good as the game went on. And that's what we're witnessing right now.
I mean, remember, too, for T1, they're at 8 wins, but they're not in playoffs just yet. And I'm not saying that they're not going to make playoffs if they lose this, because, again, their strength of schedule is pretty weak, but it may affect which place they get in.
Yeah.
And that could actually be quite significant in terms of that first round. So
it might mean that certain teams could make decisions about which teams they face.
I'm not
and things like that.
Yeah,
Wolf, we'll see whether that is going to be an eventuality.
I do wonder because, you know, from a watched this game only perspective, maybe you would change your decision. But I'm looking at this, and if you're a T1 fan, you're not happy to see this game, even if they do end up coming back and bringing this to 3. But I mean, it's 13 kills to 6 right now. It's a 2,000 gold lead. It's a massive Ezreal, and map control doesn't belong to them. The Baron power play is increasing by the turret, and there's ways back into this game. But if Kennen can never ult, then is this draft even real?
Yeah.
That's a question we keep asking ourselves. Is any of this real? But if you pinch yourself, you can actually feel that, yeah, Nongshim with the pressure off, T1 are underperforming a little bit here. I think underestimating and bringing Nongshim to the chaos is always a mistake.
You know what I'm going to do, though? On my way home tonight, I'm going to buy myself some cup noodles.
Yeah.
Because I just think, based on this performance, Nongshim deserves it. Mahal throwing some cues around here in this this river. Still 2 minutes until that Mountain Drake does come back up. Bit of good news, slice of good news for T1 is the fact that they were able to lock down that first Mountain Drake of the game. The Baron buff is going to wear off. Red Bull Baron power play sitting at about 3,000, which is not end of the world territory, but now it's Nongshim with a gold advantage. They've been at a deficit this entire game, and still, like, it's a 2-0-3 Yone and a 6-0-1 Ezreal. The money is where it needs to be.
The Cassante being behind really means very little. We've always talked a lot about how Cassante can get a lot done even while behind. And when he has this Rooker in here into the Kennen, it's hard to get punished by Kennen in lane. And unfortunately for T1, it's just not a really abusable champion anymore. Like, they were able to turn him into a bit of a sandbag in the early game, but now he's still relevant. And we had Sylvie pick up a lot of gold early. He's able to complete Zonia's here before 25 minutes, so he's got Flash coming back online. Actually just came back up. So he can Flash, set up a big sleep, and then be safe to actually layer more damage in with his Leandries. Super mobile. Who do you ult as the Vi now? There's just too many problems to solve here for Nongshim.
Yeah, this is one of the big problems. Jiwoo is building towards his third item as well. Spear of Sojin going to be coming in pretty damn soon. Still 3 items dumped for Gumushi, and he is very, very strong. But whether he can actually fight in these chaotic team fights that we're seeing is going to be the biggest issue, right?
Yeah, it remains to be seen.
Yeah.
And Faker hits 2 items. You know, he's obviously a Corki who is behind because his lane opponent has been making more proactive plays around the map because he's Yone. And Faker definitely can offer some poke here, but doesn't solve the range issue against this Ezreal because Faker only has so many missiles. And Ezreal has infinite Qs, actually, as it turns out.
Yeah, even though it's been 10% nerfed, I think he got 10% buffed by killing everyone at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, maybe more than 10.
That wasn't too bad. Fisher might be caught out of position here. Let's see whether he can ult away. He is going to be able to do so. That's a big cooldown now missing, and no teleport to get him back into the fight as well, as Ona is going to try and push him ever further. Still, he's got a lot of life steal, so you do have to be a little bit careful.
And no Vial.
Here. Yeah.
No Vial for Owner, so locking down this Ezreal seems like a pipe dream at this point. Keria is sitting at 1/3 health.
The thing is, the Cannon is now a whole lot more dangerous with the fact that they don't have that Fate sealed in order to lock things down. Keria almost just dies to the True Shot barrage, so they're not going to be able to go for any sort of engage. He is purely their front line, and that is going to be sole point for Nongshim.
Zeus is just not getting to ult in team fights. It's just not being allowed. As the Ezreal follow-up there, just so huge, pushing the cow out of the fight, and everything used onto Fisher, who just ults away, means it's just a free dragon for Nongshim. Like, Zeus he really wanted to go in.
Yeah.
With his ult, he had Flash available. He knows Fisher alone won't be able to stop him, but he just can't close the gap to the targets that really matter. If you kill Fisher there, then you don't win the fight because he already used his ultimate. It's just really rough here for T1. 7 kills behind, 2,500 gold behind. Owner's ult is coming back online here, but starting a Baron right now is out of the question.
Oh man, Fisher 2-level advantage, has those 3 levels in his ultimate as well, that Fate Sealed. I know that it was nerfed a little bit as far as that cooldown very late on, but it is still feeling pretty good at this point in time. Hasn't even gone back yet. I think Jackshow's is on the way. And he's going to be not only very, very dangerous, have a lot of CC, but he's also going to be very difficult to kill. And we saw that that was already the case even before that third item was completed.
Yeah, I'd be really curious to see what Guma's damage numbers are in this game as well, because he has to play so far back and play so safe. If you actually look at his KDA, you just tuned in, you're like, oh, I guess Guma's popping off. Well, he did early with a lot of friends and a lot of help, but he hasn't been able to get any kills since that 4th one, nor has he really been able to team fight because his front line is getting decimated or the Vi is just not able to actually set him up for success.
Not to mention the poke is just so hard, right? So before anything honestly happens, it is really difficult as Blastcone has to be employed just to make sure they're not caught by some sort of sleep after that bowling ball comes in. And there's that Jackshow's that we were talking about. 3 items on for mid lane and for the AD carriers. Jiwoo hits rank 3 on the True Shot Barrage. And Ona lying in wait here is going to find Vital. I think Vital pretty happy about that one. Finds the quickness, and they're just going to turn it on to Ona. And he is going to ult, but they get over the wall, and now the re-engage comes in. Jiwoo's going to be taken out, and Fisher as well finds himself on the wrong side of the fight. Can they still get this? Because Mihail, he goes all out. Carrier finds the pulverizers. Fisher locks down Ona. They don't have their Fed Ezreal, and they're still fighting this one as Sylvie misses the bowling ball, and finally, Gumayushi's able to get it done. Carrier ticking down, but he will survive.
And when the Ezreal blows up there, they don't have half of their damage, but it doesn't necessarily matter because Fisher is doing so much, and the fight is so broken up by T1 because Owner has to aggressively yet defensively ult there, gets a big shield, is able to survive. But I think the decision to go on to Vital here without vision of this Banana Brush is actually a really risky call. It's really Zeus who saves this play, who's able to get on top of Jiwoo here, and even though he gets over the wall, he gets picked off. But then watch how the rest of the fight plays out. Zeus is instantly deleted by Mihail. Fisher is actually winning against Owner on the side, so that basically guarantees this is not going to be a Baron. And with the lifesteal Fisher has on this buff Yone, they just can't actually win the fight decisively enough. And as Nongshim retreat and split up, T1 end up pretty empty here in terms of what they wanted to do with this fight. They don't end up winning it. They trade even. They're still now further behind actually than 2,500. They're actually almost 3,000 behind at this point. But when you watch how these fights play out, imagine if they don't kill Jiwoo. Imagine if Jiwoo on this extremely mobile Ezreal lives. It's just not playable. And they're just going to go straight back to Baron and say, we're doing it again. Sylvie's ult's back up.
And T1 have no information about what's going on here. You can see Mihail turns up in the bottom lane. He has teleport. So does Faker. But Sylvie's in the mid lane.
Fake out.
It's
real.
Mid lane and AD carry that are just going to kill a Baron.
And T1 just aren't realizing. They're like, well, these players are missing, but I wonder where they are. They're going to get the notification right now. There goes the Baron, and it's T1 who let this happen. They're the kings of doing sneaky Barons, but there's just not much they can do. They can't close the gap. They don't have vision. It's too risky to walk in there, but I think when they saw the rest of the team show on the map, it shouldn't have been, okay, they're not doing Baron. It should have been, wow, they're two-manning the Baron.
Well, I mean, we have all the information. That was a sneaky move, and Jiwoo, like, did not delay even a second, right? He is arcane shifting into that Baron pit instantly. Fisher joins him. It's hard to react so quickly to plays like this.
And they would have had to make a risky call to go in there and try to check it, and then perhaps something you see an interrupt on a teleport and ends up being a disaster. Like Faker can't TP in there, Mihail will just stop him. So it's very like
it's checking this team is so hard as well.
Yeah, it's like both a sneaky call, but I feel like not really that risky actually by Nongshim in this case. It was really calculated, very smart.
Yeah, and I feel like somewhere there's like, okay, never mind. Mihail dashing forward, doesn't find the Q on Gumayushi. The W is going to connect there from Jiwoo, and that needs to be respected. As he's hit by a rocket from Faker, they're trying to soften them up as Mountain Soul now on the table for Nongshim. They can use their Baron, get things pushed up, get this one started. Yeah, Zeus, good flank angle, no flash though available. Let's see whether he can get into a good position as Carrier half health now, just off one combo. Fisher gets over the wall with the Unbound Soul. He's just looking to try and deal with this, and there is the Mountain Soul now available for Nongshim. Shields upon shields for this K'Sante.
I mean, they couldn't get to the Ezreal. Now, even if they do get to him, those shields are really going to be a problem. He has an arm guard in his inventory as well. He's just so safe.
Yeah.
And he knows that he's the hyper-fed member in this game. Yes, Fisher is also pretty fed, pretty huge. But if you can't kill the Ezreal, I just don't think you win these. You're outranged. And T1 knew it. They were like, well, I guess that's it. Checkmate. We have to give this dragon up. I hope we can fight for Elder. As a nice flank here.
Yeah, a little bit of a flank angle from Gumayusi and Faker coming across the side as Carrier looking for a bit of a sandwich play as Nongshim. They all just regroup. Fisher on that bottom side as Owner was looking for an angle as well.
I mean, this
not
is
able to get away in.
This is all T1 can do is try to set up Owner to get onto the Ezreal from behind. Like, if they can find a pocket of vision, just one hole, maybe they can kill Jiwoo, but Nongshim move back as a unit. They're like, oh, this isn't right. They're showing it out of a weird, coming from Wolves. That doesn't make sense. Like, Owner must be behind us. We don't know where he is. He's not showing. They back away. They don't over-index on trying to take out the inner. They don't make a mistake. Because right now, T1 are really banking on a huge overextension, a big mistake, or an arcane shift forward from Jiwoo. But you know what? I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to choke.
Or it's like, so you've got that, capitalize on an overextension, or it's a weather the storm, and then burger flip.
Yeah, I mean,
Or
that's what I'm saying.
Elder
That's the only other angle you've got left is T1.
Yeah.
And, I mean, look at this Guma, 1,400 gold ahead. But the value of what he's gotten with that extra gold is, it feels like zip, zilch, nothing compared to what Jiwoo's been able to do with the front line he has, the decisive engages from Fisher. And that's the Zyra angle. I mean, Zyra, excuse me.
Yep.
Zyra is a canyon jungle angle, but I hate to harp on it so much. I mean, he's 100 CS up, but we've talked about it so much. He's at 23.6k damage is what the numbers are put out on the screen. I'm seeing if Xayah is actually ahead. So Xayah is ahead.
Yeah,
4,600
more
damage.
Interesting. But I mean,
how effective is the damage if it doesn't secure kills?
Well, this is the thing, is that what we've seen in these fights is that the damage isn't necessarily coming from Jiwoo. He is a super fed Ezreal. He will be able to clean up fights, but so much of it is the Wombo combo to come out of both Sylvie and Fisher, who have just denied Zeus the ability to play the game. And Gumayusi has been alive at the end of a lot of these fights. He hasn't been the one targeted. He's only died that one time, as we can see. He's got most of his items completed. He is a monster in this game, but in these last fights, is he going to be able to get it done? As you can see, Fisher just searching once again for another angle, as this inner turret could be in trouble as W connects onto the turret, and that will be going down as Carrier going to have to back away. There's another one. Fisher unbinds the soul, knows that he has to go back there. It's a bit dangerous, so he is going to reattach very, very quickly.
It's hard for Guma to commit without his teammates really close by there, so he gets away with it. And obviously, Nongshim had Prio on the top side, had the faster rotation down, or would have had, if they decided to try to look for that all-in on the Fisher. It could have been disastrous. Because with the amount of control that Nongshim have over the map right now, if Guma dies, then they just push further as Owner. Speaking of dying.
Yeah, exactly. He's 0-5 already. This might be 0-6, but no. He presses the ulti button. He's going in, and he just goes out immediately afterwards. That's that 0-6 that we were talking about. And Nongshim don't have to worry about a jungler. Still a minute until the Baron, so he will be up again for that. But the base may be in tatters as it's now 4 versus 5. Faker is going to get nailed by so many skill shots.
Look at
from Jiwoo.
He's like, oh, there's no Vi. I can step forward. I'm brave now. I'm not afraid.
Oh, Fisher is also going to do the same thing, but of course doesn't need to be that brave as Sylvie almost just one-shot by Gumayusi. He might need to press his Zhonya's button. Vital's going to be there to try and protect him as Carrier looks for the option to headbutt back onto Jiwoo. He breaks his arm guard for the ulti to punish Jiwoo, and Fisher just says, no, not today, my friend. That is going to be the exhaust down, but it's not enough to stop Jiwoo from falling down. Sylvie's now dead as well, but Nongshim are cleaning up the fight because Fisher is still just so big. Faker on full health, not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, Guma said, I'm going to actually put this game on my back, and I am going to carry in that fight. Did so much damage, was actually finally unlocked for just a second. Put Sylvie down to like 1% health and does massive amount of damage to everyone else who chases him down, but he does eventually fall. There's too many threats here for the side of Nongshim, and Owner not only basically coming here to face check to put up this ward, but then decides to go in, a very puzzling choice. Now, critically, it does end up getting the ultimate out of Sylvie, which is a tool that's down for the following skirmish. But look at this from Guma. He's like, nah, Sylvie, I'm going in on him. I have this angle. Yao actually can't get on top of me. Look at the kiting from Guma. It's actually fantastically played here. And then he gets on top of Jiwoo. When he can actually close the gap, get on top of the Ezreal, he does a ton. But there's just too many threats. And eventually he dies. And
Yeah.
Deus' ultimate is just too late.
He does manage to get Jiwoo right on the edge of the slicing maelstrom. It was fantastically played, but the patience from Fisher just to wait for that angle. He gets it, unbinds the soul, and then just throws the ulti on top of Guma, and there was just not enough left in the tank. Is now Vital going to get engaged on once again? Cease and desist comes down. Has he created enough space? The answer is no. As the Rakan goes down, Fisher just going to reattach once again. So it's a few health bars now a little bit lower, but Nongshim without their support.
And that was working really well for Vital, little tricky plays, but now they have, oh, Carrier.
Yeah, that's the flash headbutt from Carrier. The ulti comes through from Fisher though, and Carrier will be going down. So support for support, but Ona's also going to fall. A double kill for Jiwoo to start this one. And Zeus' ulti doesn't find the angle he was looking for this time. And this Mountain Soul, this Cassante is so big. It's a triple for Jiwoo, and he's just layering all the CC. Arcane shift forward, quadra kill, and the Noodles are winning 2-0 over T1.
Unbelievable result. 2 insane upsets today. First Gen G fall, and then T1. It was the win that KT took that knocked Nongshim out of playoffs, but I don't think it affected them in this one. Or maybe it did, maybe it was the lack of pressure, but they get a huge upset, arguably a bigger upset than the first, and Jiwoo gets embraced, and damn does he deserve it.
Oh, 100% Vital as well, man. Like, you can imagine like getting thrown into this roster. They required that mature voice from Guga to be able to get this team on the same page. And then Vital says, oh, is that all I'm having to do now? I just have to command everyone. If you've seen him, he's quite a small man. But I think he had such an incredible series today. Alongside Jiwoo, who we already knew was a superstar in his own right. I am incredibly proud, though, of Mihail, who is now remembering how to take a bow. It's been a while for this man.
It has been a while. Been a while for this whole squad. And normally, like I said, we get so many of these series against T1 with Nongshim where T1 dominate game 1, happy game in game 2, Nongshim fight back, or at least it's a close game 2, then we go to 3. This time, bit of a funky draft in game 1, we get outplayed. Game 2, standard draft, get outplayed. But not a standard game, I will say, in the early game was a bit crazy. Yeah, but the lane swap shenanigans, T1 came out ahead, but they got out-clutched. I feel like Fisher, this is the best series we've seen from him since he came back to the LCK here.
That lady back there, by the way, said that she's going to quit her job if Nongshim wins. And then she also wrote down, I'm going to do it for real on the fan sign. So, I mean, I hope that your job wasn't very fun and you've got a better career in mind.
Yeah, maybe check the job listings for Nongshim.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, that sort of dedication, I think they could probably employ. As, yeah, Mihail fans losing their minds. You saw there as well, the waterworks. As this man, it's been a rough time, but this game was fantastic. Took a beating on the Cassante, but was then that front line that they needed. And Nongshim, Fisher as well, man. Like, I feel like
think it's his best series he's played this whole year.
100%, 100%. And I think that, like, him trading with Calyx, there were some days where I was like, oh, I just kind of wish that Calyx would play more. I know he's a little bit inconsistent because he's so young, but I don't think Fisher is it. Maybe I'm just, like, his mechanics with the water cup, not very good. But his mechanics on Yone, absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah, it's the second series of the day, so once everybody clears out, we can clean that up, you know?
Yeah. We'll get them off on our way
up.
He
doesn't even know, so at least he doesn't have to feel guilty or weird about it. Imagine if he, like, pulled some tissues out and he was like, oh, God, I got to handle this.
Yeah, no. Instead, he's going to see it, like, on Twitter or something afterwards.
I think the conversation after this series for a lot of fans will be, what did T1 do wrong? And I think that will probably dominate the conversation because T1 is the biggest esports org in the world and the most popular and going through a lot of struggles right now. You know, Faker, some misplays against Gen G, right, were the big topic of conversation. And then we had, obviously, the COVID come up. Everyone's wearing masks today, right? Maybe they're a little bit out of sorts. But I feel like that shouldn't be what dominates the conversation if you're watching this series. Yes, T1 underperformed, and there were some shaky moments in Game 1. The draft was a little silly. But Game 2, they just got straight up outplayed, and I feel like the real story is Nongshim rising to the occasion, and T1 perhaps not thinking this matchup was going to be a tough one. I don't want to go as far as to call it a trap game, but I think Nongshim.
Oh, it's 100% a trap game. I think you can definitely say it.
But when the pressure is off, Nongshim look great. If they can play like this next year on regular season games, I mean, this is just I voted for Fisher, by the way. I know the Ezreal dominated the game, but I was like, nah, Fisher is the one. Like,
Oh, no, I think it's going to be like, it'll be a split vote between Fisher and Vital if it was only me's that were voting for it. Because I'm still not fully decided on who I liked in this series because I felt like Vital had just a really good game, was able to control a lot of these team fights. And Sylvie as well had a really good series just in general, was a little bit of a quiet achiever. We're going to have a listen in, and it was dominated by Fisher. You are 100% right. I think it should be 12 out of 12.
I look at this fight as well, just the constant shot calling for Vital. Like, this was a piece that was missing. Even though Guger had the experience, I feel like his shot calling was not this crisp, was not this clean, and I think there's a lot of hype here for Nongshim, but calling to kill Guma in that fight, kill the Xayah first as soon as you can, as fast as you can, and they did just that.
Yeah, and this must have been what they were building Vital into, right? That's what he's been in Challenger trying to get to. And I think so much of this is an investment towards 2025. I don't think Nongshim knew that they were going to turn around enough to be able to challenge our top teams here in the LCK. But if this is a taste of things to come for Nongshim, I'm loving these noodles, man.
It's a budget Challengers roster until the Challengers players get a ton of experience to become veterans, right? It's a budget roster, it's a budget roster, it's a new piece until all the pieces start working together, all the pieces have experience, and then all the pieces start beating teams like T1, and then you're like, uh-oh, is Nongshim a playoffs contender next year? We'll see what happens with the roster. I'm not ready to say it just yet, and I think not T1's greatest day, but you love to champion a team when they rise to the occasion and look way better than they normally do when the pressure's off. Let's see if they can do it when the pressure's on.
Yep, I can't wait for DRX to beat KT so that we've had these games for absolutely everyone. And now it's time for us to throw it back to Dagon to break down the Nongshim win.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Jison for the VOD interview translation, and we are here joined by the solo laners on the side of Nongshim as they pick up the POGs. Congratulations on the big win, guys.
두 분 모두 선글라스, 안경 굉장히 멋집니다.
Oh, cool shades on you.
쓰고 오신 건지 좀
What does that mean, though? What are those for?
저희가 이번에 스폰받은 제품인데
This is one of the products from our sponsors, and it helps us perform better.
이걸 쓰면 게임도 잘 되고
For sure.
되게 건강해지고
You get to play better, and your eyes also get, brighter, so highly recommend.
자, T1을 상대로 승리를 하셨습니다. 미하일 선수부터 소감이
What
어떠신지
an
들어보고 싶습니다.
upset, you secured a win up against T1. Mihail, how do you feel? Honestly, I was not expecting a clean win up against T1 today, so it makes me feel even happier. Nongshim had a 11-match long losing streak against T1 since 2021 summer season. How does it feel to finally break the streak? I mean, I'm very glad that we finally managed to break that streak, and I hope this could be a stepping stone for Nongshim to perform better. Fisher, I have a question about the recent changes in Nongshim's roster. Starting last match, Vital has been starting as support. What kind of changes is Nongshim aiming for with this lineup? So I think for me and Vital have a really good synergy together, and it kind of takes care of the mid lane really well. So I personally really like this change. What about you, Mihail? Well, he doesn't come top, so no big opinion. But he still performs well in team fights, right? Yeah, of course, his team fights are so on point. So yeah, definitely a great kind of addition to our team recently. So going back to the first game, Nongshim opened Aurora and the enemy quickly picked it, and then you guys answered it Rumble Yone. Yeah, we were ready with the Rumble into Aurora matchup. So drafting throughout the pick and ban phase, we wanted to focus on the champions that we are confident in, and we wanted to keep in mind that we have to be having a really good reactionary, plays into the Aurora, kind of unexpected attempts. So you picked Yona in both games, Fisher. How did you plan to counter Aurora and Corki?
괜찮은 챔피언이라
Well, I
생각하기
mean,
때문에
Yone, his late game values are really, really high. So as long as he can get through lane, he can pop off. So I was like, let's just get through lane. And indeed, there were a lot of moments where Yone was able to kind of dominate the team fight. So let's take a look at those replays shortly. And early in first game, you quickly picked Rumble from the red side, and then opponent locked in Kennen. There's a lot of debate going on about Rumble Kennen matchup. What's your view on this matchup? I think it all comes down to how you played the early game, and we attempted the lane swap and we forced the teleport out of Zeus. So I think that was giving us a lot more space. Even though Rumble was nerfed recently, you performed very well. Is Rumble still viable? Well, it did impact his early laning phase, but as well, it doesn't really matter as soon as he masters Q. So in the late game, he's still very, very strong. Now let's take a look at this replay where Rumble was able to just melt down the enemies. How are you able to just start up the team fight with your ult by yourself? So we had priorities in all of the lanes, and Kennen was freezing bottom lane, which means, you know, we have to make something happen on the other two lanes. And then also I could tell the enemies were trying to kind of contest for the mid lane area, so I wanted to open up a fight with the ult. And then in the early part of the second game, there were very intense fighting in the bottom lane, back to back to back. So how did you communicate with the team to deal with the situation? Well, so speaking of the early game fights, well, because I'm Yone, I'm just a bystander. So I was just cheering them up. I was just like fighting my team. And do you remember any specific communication regarding the situation between the bottom laners and the jungler? I mean, completely none of my business, so I was just focused on my laning phase, to be honest. And then in the final team fight of Game 2, your Yone had a huge impact. So let's take a look at this replay. You just single-handedly opened up the team fight, even though you were down in numbers, and still won out the fight. So I was very fed at that moment. I had so many items, and I knew that I should be the one making team fights and making plays. So because I had my E skill up, I knew that I can go in and out. So I wanted to be a little proactive over there. Although Nongshim Red Force, the playoffs are out of the reach for you guys. Nongshim aims to finish the season strong. Your next opponents are D plus Kia in next week. So with today's momentum, do you think you can secure another win? What would you like to say to the fans? Sadly, we cannot make it to the playoffs anymore, but we will keep working our best until the end of the season. I will look forward to your support, everyone. Now that we just defeated T1, we will also take DK down to make our fans happy and show the best out of Nongshim. And this will be the end of the POG interview, and back to the space. Thank you.